Hello chess friends and welcome to your of Chess channel and welcome to an amazing tournament that started today. Welcome to the Norway Chess Tournament in 2022. So this is now a really beautiful and brilliant chess event in which we'll see two sections. So for the first section will be a blitz section, 3+2 is the tempo, so 10 players will play 9 rounds, so it's a 1 round robin, and then tomorrow really the real thing starts. Then we'll see classical time format chess, and the cool part is that Vishy is playing again classical time format chess. I'm not sure when Vishy played his last classical game, and also Veselin Topalov is here, which is also amazing. We'll see a former world championship match between Vishy Anand and Veselin Topalov. You know, they played really the legendary match game in which Vishy was much better and really won in a beautiful way. And also we see a beautiful match between Magnus Carlsen and Vishy Anand. This will be also a very interesting thing to see. So as I said, I'm really looking forward to watch this kind of an event, and especially because Vishy is playing. Vishy played really awesome rapid section in the previous tournament, so he outplayed really beautiful top grandmasters. So Vishy is back and he can even maybe win the whole thing. So let's see now, as a warm-up, also a beautiful blitz gameplay by Vishy against also a respected grandmaster Aryan Tari. Here you see how Vishy is really well prepared, because you cannot surprise Vishy in openings because he knows his theory for sure. So here Vishy opened with the move knight to f3. We have knight to f6, so we have c4 by Aryan Tari, and I wanted to also point you out that this is now the first round, so no decisive games have been played so far. This game will use as a warm-up just in order to get the grip to see really how strong Vishy is now these days. So here after move c4 we have g6, and after knight to c3, bishop to g7, e4 was played by Vishy Anand, and this is sort of an anti-Grunfeld setup. He's not allowing here Aryan Tari to maybe go into the Grunfeld defense with the move d5, because if you play d4 then I think you can expect here immediately d5. So that's why e4 here is a beautiful anti Grunfeld setup. So we have here e5, and this is now a tricky idea by Aryan Tari. He probably wanted to test Vishy Anand in this particular line, but actually this is not what you should do. Probably you should go with the move d6, and then probably the game would lead into the King's Indian defense and similar ideas. But after move e5 the game already becomes wild, and here I really like the fact that Vishy really knows his theory. He played immediately knight to e5, kingside castling. Okay, black has now fast development and you have some tactical problems on the e-file, but Vishy simply retreated, knight to f3. This is how you're supposed to play now this opening. After move rook to e8, Vishy still has a great protection of the e4 square with the move bishop to d3. So now knight to e4, Vishy plays bishop to e4. This is now only a temporary move, because after bishop to c3 we have d takes c3, and now also Aryan Tari takes the piece. And okay, we're stopping and evaluating now the position. Many things have been played now, many pieces are traded, and the problem I think here for black in this particular scenario is of course the dark problems here around black's king. So this is now something that bothers black through the whole game. Although the material is equal, we have now opposite colored bishops, and in many occasions this game should probably be a draw, but not in this position. I think here white can always attack this dark squares, because we'll try maybe to sneak in somehow with the queen and the bishop here, so it's hard to defend now the position from black's perspective. So bishop to e3. First, of course, Vishy has to cover. We have knight to c6, we have kingside castling, and after move d6 a very important prophylactic move h3, not allowing some ideas of bishop to g4, then maybe to pin the knight and create maybe some double pawn structures here on the f file. So bishop to f5, Aryan Tari develops the piece on an active square. Here we have queen to d2, and after queen to f6 now knight to d4. This is now a good choice I think by Vishy, because if knight to d4 happens, then he can improve his pawn structure with c takes d4, then the pawns are not doubled, and still this should be a better position again for white, especially because of the fact that, as I said in the beginning, that still you haven't solved all of your dark square problems. Still bishop to h6 is going to happen. Still we can kick away maybe the rook here. Maybe we can play d5, then bishop to d4, queen to h6. So many things could happen here on the dark square. So here after move knight to d4, we have bishop to d7. We have bishop to g5 attacking the queen, queen to g7. Here Aryan Tari is trying to protect the dark horse with the queen. It is playable, but of course you don't want to use just the queen in order to defend yourself. You want to play actively with your queen, not use it only as a defensive piece. So you see black is always getting pushed away by the dark square problem. So we have here rook from f2 e1 attacking the rook, and now the first real mistake here by Aryan Tari, rook to e8, and this is now a huge problem because you have now a weakness on c7, which unfortunately Ariantari missed. I think he missed this tactical sequence. A better idea is to play rook to e1. After rook to e1, then maybe to play f6, kicking with the bishop, or at least somehow prevent with a6 this knight to b5 move. That would be the only way to somehow make something out of this. But after move rook from a to e8, Vishy takes rook to e4. We have rook to e4, and now after move knight to b5, there's no good way anymore to protect your pawn. So something went wrong already here for Ariantari. So we have queen to e5, we have knight to c7, we have rook to e2. So okay, Ariantari has some kind of an activity, but after queen to c1, we have now bishop to e6, and that was now another mistake by Ariantari. The tactic that he should have seen in order to prolong the game is really wild. What he should have played is really hard to see. Knight to e7 is here the opportunity, and then of course to get somehow the pieces again active. But now after move bishop to e7, look how really wild this game can become. This is now only a stockfish sequence that I show you. I'm not sure how many of us would consider this kind of a tactic, but that's simply the suggested line by the stockfish engine. So let's see, queen to e7, now knight to d5. Now the queen has to sneak in here on h4. There are even some tactical threats around the square h3. There are also some threats around here the square f2. So you have to play now g3. Look at this, white has to be also careful. Now if queen to h3 happens, then of course knight to f4, it leads into the fork and a much better position for white. So that's why black needs to take out the pawn on c4. But now with this fork, knight to f6, king to g7, okay, you can take out the bishop, but actually with the rook to e7, the knight gets trapped, so no huge problems I think anymore for black. In the continuation you could try maybe something like b3, then queen to c8. After this one we can take out the knight here, and this should be probably a drawish position. Okay, maybe black has here some kind of a weakness on d6, but it can be improved maybe with rook to e6. You can always defend this pawn. So as I said, maybe this was the way to get out of this mess. But after move bishop to e6 here, Vishy takes over, knight to e6, pardon me, queen to e6, we have b3 fixing the pawn structure, and after queen to f5, now bishop to e3, and here Vishy has solved all of the position problems. No weaknesses he has now in the position, and she should be probably winning here. So we have queen to d3, queen to d1, queen to d1, rook to d1. Okay, you can also take out this pawn, but your d6 is weak. Rook takes d6, we have rook to a3. Now Vishy again improves his pawn structure with the move b4. Here, even if you take, of course, this is not a problem, because you have always with b5, you have always this kind of an opportunity. Look at this, b5, you have to step back, check, you have to play king to g7. Look at this, bishop to d4 is completely winning the game immediately. So that's why after move b4 you have to be careful. Here f5 was played by Ariantari. Now Vishy plays the correct move, places the rook on the 7th rank where most of the pawns are, and there are of course weaknesses. We have rook to c3, Vishy takes also this pawn, but after rook to c4, now comes b5, again attacking the knight, knight to d4, and here Vishy plays again the correct move, bishop to h6. And now, for instance, if you move the king, that's now the problem. You can always get checkmated on the back rank. So that's why you have to be careful. Knight to e6 was played by Ariantari. He's getting more pieces into the defense, but it's not working because Vishy can take it out and has now always the opportunity to attack the knight, and then afterwards also maybe to deliver some dangerous checks. So here after move rook to b4 was played. Now Vishy plays on this idea, attacks simply the knight. We have a check, not a problem. Knight to d4, Vishy plays a check. If you of course play on this side, then we can play something like rook to d7, getting this discovered check, and the knight will be lost. So that's why here Ariantari has to play king to h8, and after rook to d7 he attacks again the knight, knight to e6, and after rook to e7 in this position Ariantari resigns. So of course the knight is hanging, and we have also the threat of a checkmate on e8. So you see how brilliantly here Vishy Anand played this beautiful endgame. So congratulations. I hope that Vishy can make really something out of this blitz section. He played really great so far in the tournament. I wish him all of the best. We'll see also this beautiful classical time format chess games between Vishy and Magnus. Magnus against Topalov, Topalov versus Vishy. So we'll repeat a little bit chess history here in this tournament. So in my opinion, it will be one of the best events of the year. So okay, I hope that you like this game as a warm-up. You see how strong Vishy is. He is still the tiger in chess. I wish him all of the best, as I said. If you want to see also some other commented chess games that we have covered here on my YouTube chess channel, here's the link of our commented chess games. And if you like this content, don't forget to subscribe to my channel. See you soon with some more videos then. Chess is the best, of course.